someone call action.
And action!
Could we do one more?
One more. Reset.
Alrighty, for part 2 of this series, we're actually going to review the film in real time and think about it and have some thoughts and things to say that you may or may not find interesting. Here we go!
Gaffer, what's happening, mate? We're going out. Come on, you and me, the boys. What are you saying?
There were a lot of ways we considered filming the opening, but they ended up being quite difficult to fit into the time slot that we had. So we had to make a lot of different compromises in order to find the way to sell the idea that Josh was alone, his kids were out, and that he wanted to party, but no one wanted to party with him.
So we had a very devastating first day of production. We discovered that there was some sensor damage to our Ursa G2.
Well, we started framing up for the first shot, and then we realized that we had these marks on the monitor.
We decided to rekindle our spirits and jump onto our B cam, which is exactly the camera we used for the first Rabbit Hole film anyway, so.
This should be on shitty rigs.
It should be on shitty rig.
Right at the end here, as soon as the rabbit turns around, the camera's dollying in towards the bunny.
Oh shit, stop! Bang!
While we have Ranjeet camera right with the fork as a sort of foreground element, we've created a POV effect. It's very Halloween-esque, and it's something that we really wanted to incorporate in the short film.
Datu probably touched on this, but white everywhere. White carpet, white handrails, white walls, very hard to light. With the wrong touch, it'll all just look super flat. And so we used a lot of grids to kind of dial that in.
So we had several shots lined out to capture this sequence here, but we found that it was best to condense it just into one shot. It established the power dynamics of the scene immediately. So we have Crystal at the top, Josh in the middle, the Easter Bunny down on the ground.
Just like the good old days, eh, Joshy boy?
What the hell is going on?
I'm really impressed with this composition because with the time schedule that we had to think quickly. Matthew, the gaffer, and I decided to light this two-shot with two separate lights. Crystal switches on a light.
Wait, who?
Well, Easter Bunny.
That one specific light was a 300D on a mini dome. Cast that directly over her face, and the way that we lit Josh in the scene was with a tube light bouncing off some bleach muzz on the stairs, underlighting him, as well as giving him a catch light.
Alright, talk me through the setup.
So, we've got this bunny rabbit hat thing, and this is what Scott's wearing. Apparently it's very hot.
Wait, are you saying the rabbit's a man? Oh no! Someone's finally done it!
Being physical with the bunny is so important because it's one of the main forms of communication to who his character is. Part of it is me trying to figure out how one would represent certain emotions physically if they really had to. So some of the shaking on the stairs when he's been stabbed I thought would be real because it would be such a sensitive spot that he wanted to touch it and grab it, but he knew that touching it would strike a nerve and cause him pain.
Robots in the sky.
Alright, just relax. Who are you?
Halloween recruitment.
This whole scene was a lot of fun to film because it had all three of us and there was some moving parts and there was moving motivations and information that we had to give out.
That didn't go in, I'm sorry. That was too obvious.
My goal with this scene was to humanize Crystal and give her a sense of personality, even if we don't go that deep into it.
You ever seen Monsters Inc?
Yeah.
Her talking about the clown sightings was a moment of pride. It was a moment for her to kind of almost geek out with Josh and be like, hey, this thing was really cool.
And how the movie It came out the year after?
Yeah, she's the bunny's antagonist within this scenario, but she's not a bad person. We have to at least understand her or sympathize with her for the moment at the end to hit effectively. If she was a bitch, then we wouldn't really care. If she was immoral, we wouldn't care either.
Welcome to the Cinematography Hour with Datu Bethke. To be or not to be cinematography. Today we're diving deeper into the kitchen scene where I will indulge in this beautiful mead.
Since there was a lot of space, we had a lot of depth cue to play with. So we had foreground elements, midground elements, and background elements. So we had a 300D mini dome right above her as her key light and had two 60Xs sort of creating an edge hairlight around her. In the background, we wanted to create the TV effect that was still playing in the scene, as if Josh never turned it off.
I hate TVs! Seriously?
So we had a tube light playing the TV effect preset in the background, while we had a few practicals, the lamps playing in the scene.
Datu! Yeah. Here? Yeah.
So the kitchen scene is one of the scenes that were pretty much spot on the boards, spot on what we planned. We sort of knew how we were going to light it, we knew where the shots were and what the camera movement was. As a result, we just executed it on the day and yeah, I think it looks great.
Oh mate, a word if you will. Oh mate, £5 for every time I screw up a job, I'd be rich.
How did you find me?
This shot here is actually well crafted, in my opinion. We had one street light with CTB, a tube light directly over and behind the two characters. So what's really beautiful about the scene is the fact that the bunny suit is white and acts as a natural reflector as the bunny's sort of tussling and moving around and explaining himself, which helps elevate the shadows on Josh's face. Now, we had little time left in the schedule for this shot and decided to shoot the entire scene in one shot. In the edit, it felt a little too long-winded, so what we did was, on the second day, we decided to spin our characters into a new scene.
All right, Josh, here's the what's obvious.
What's good about that is it ended up being a really effective shot in showing that the bunny can control Josh, and so having him physically move him into a new shot was really effective in communicating that now the bunny is in control, he's telling his story, and he's trying to convince Josh to come along with him.
She's just being scary on account of it being Halloween and all. Please, Josh.
The way that we lit the porch scene was quite simple, but found it quite challenging during the reverse of the rabbit. We had to extend our lights further out, where we were lighting up the garden as well as implementing a lot of practical lamps and a lot of Halloween paraphernalia.
So you are a man.
I'm the fucking Easter Bunny.
We pushed onto the footpath a 60X with CTB just to act as a street light. We had a tube light playing over the top of Josh as sort of the porch light, and we also had a tube bouncing off a reflector to create a little bit more output on the side of his face.
Wicked. You got a car?
In the car scene that we were shooting, it should have been a very simple, voyeuristic kind of stalking shot. The idea was we just get in the cars, drive around the blocks 2 times, and we're good. What ended up happening was we had the camera rig on with a 50mm handheld, and it just wasn't quite working. It was quite shaky, and the solution was in front of us the whole time. We just needed to put the camera on a Ronin, bang, and it was done.
Yeah.
It's the simple scenes that kind of cause us problems down the line. So treat all scenes equally, do your proper planning, figure it out, don't do what we did here.
So what, I just do the same thing as last time, I just sit here?
We were dealing with a lot of rain, so we didn't want to compromise all of our good lights out there. So we decided to keep the lighting all interior, had 2 MCs playing on the dash, lighting their faces. We also had the top car light just to add an extra warm hue to their face.
This was a fun scene that we managed to get in one take. I also thought it was a moment for the bunny to reveal a darker side to himself.
We eat our young if it comes to it.
In the first rabbit hole, we used language to suggest some sort of seediness or criminality with the Easter Bunny.
You think I was going to stab you? These people here will actually stab you.
But in this one, it was a little bit more direct. We wanted to address the scope of what is considered dark within this universe. So having him eat his kids and then assault Crystal and say he's going to kill her is pretty fucked up when you can in any form of reality.
Ready?
All right. Come on. Let's go. Let's go. Come on. Bastard, die trying.
Believe it or not, Scott is not wet from the rain. He is wet from sweat.
During the shooting of this scene, it like rained halfway through, and then it stopped raining, and we kind of got out there, and then it rained again.
It's raining right now, so we're taking a break. And the boys are playing a bit of squash. So groaning in the background. And cameras out there, protected, a little high. It's raining. What are we gonna do?
Any flow or rhythm you have throughout the day kind of just stops. And it's out of our control. You can't do anything about it.
The casualty. We ripped the lav. Sorry. No, it's all good.
Car incoming!
All in a row.
Car incoming.
Get out! Get out now! Shut the fuck up!
The goal with this scene was to convince Crystal as the character that she was going to die, that this maniac has put a gun to her head and is going to shoot her for no other reason than his own psychotic rage.
You're gonna die tonight. You're fucking still.
It's definitely a difficult thing to find the balance between being realistic, brutal, but then also having a layer of comedy so it doesn't miss its own comedic mark, because the scene is supposed to be so hyperbolic that it is funny. Die, try fucking door! Keep locking on me.
We kept the mood in the car park scene very singular source to achieve the moodiness and the sort of eeriness of the scene. So with the final shot of the bunny palming Crystal's face in the close-up, we decided to continue using our 600D. That was our big key light, big soft key light, dialed in a bounce card, nice and close to her face, just to get a little bit more fill and to see the reaction of the fear and the trauma that she's currently experiencing.
Well, once again, we're at the point in time where the video ends. You have your stuff to do, I have my stuff to do. So at the end of the day, you know, you're just gonna learn things from experiencing. So stop watching the videos and listening to what other people have to say and go find out, figure it out. I'm not here to tell you how to live your life. I don't even know you. But thank you for watching. That's very nice of you.